folks? Dude here. Coming to you on another occasion of Dude After Dark. And, well, the news has been not exactly kind to the White House. Let's just say Peppermint Patty Pasaki, whatever her stupid name is. Wow, man. I posted up a link. I think it's in my timeline somewhere. But, oh, my stars and garters, you want to talk about somebody who looks like they are not sleeping good. Yeah, it's Jen Peppermint Patty Saki or whatever, Pasaki or whatever her name is. Man, she is looking rough. And from what I understand, there is this inner turmoil now going on inside the White House between the Joe Kaka side and the horizontal Harris side. And man, there is no love lost. They all hate each other. Harris is losing staff members like crazy, and it is not a good time to be had. So let me look over here in the room. We got Gator Red hanging out. Appreciate you, dude. Got Patriot Fever hanging out. Everybody hanging in with me tonight. I appreciate your kind attentions. You've got some people in the room, some people out of the room. And if you wish to come in and make some commentary in the chat room, please avail yourself. So looking at things as it is, and of course, I'm going to be doing that left-right thing like I usually say, simply because my home computer, read like my mini tower, my desktop, is basically what I run the video feed with. So the camera's straight right in front of me. But what I do for referencing things is I don't want to overtax, my old home computer. So I'm running that with simply just, streaming the YouTube video, and I am doing the lookup stuff on the that's Mrs. Dude's back. It was Mrs. Dude. Anyway, so basically I reference the stuff off my laptop, which is just off to the side, also known as the ominous glow. Yeah, the ominous glow. I think I finally figured out an angle of attack that it's not just doing this almost like radioactive kind of a thing going on. But anyway, so this is very, very interesting. And of course, this is the classic, you're not too big to fail. You can get drugged down simply by the federal government. In a whole world of all the plutocracy that seems to be going on with these overarching control freak guys that are running, the big three, read being Twitter, Facebook, and, Google Alphabet, of which, obviously YouTube is a component therein. But you're not so big that you cannot have the government come by and grab you by the short and curlies and give a healthy tug and say, "Hi, you're my biatch." So anyway, that's the way the situation they're in is potentially the federal government can drag you into federal court and they can rejigger your structure. They can say that you're too big. Obviously, you have trust issues. You're not basically any form of anything with any kind of competition. Pretty much you're entirely just too daggum big and you scare the crap out of them. So where it's coming to now is there is now a lawsuit that has now been filed. And this is the America First Policy Institute, which is the AFPI, applauds the class action lawsuit filed in the United States District Court for the Southern District of Florida by Donald J. Trump, 45th President of the United States, and other brave patriots representing Americans have had their First Amendment rights violated by the defendants Facebook Incorporated, Mark Zuckerberg, Twitter Incorporated, Jack Dorsey, Google LLC, and Sundar Pichai, P-I-C-H-I, Pichai, I guess it is, protected by an outdated and misinterpreted Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act. These elites and their firms ride roughshod over some of the most fundamental American rights. Reed and et al., the right to speak, the right to be heard, the right to democratic representation. This lawsuit is not the end of that fight. It is the beginning. It's a fight the AFPI is committed to seeing through. The AFPI will continue to support everyday Americans' efforts to hold big tech accountable. Every American can share their personal... Hang on a second here. I got to open another clicky. Can share their personal stories of big tech censorship or sign up for updates on the historical efforts to protect their First Amendment freedoms at takeonbigtech.com. Now, I need to file into that because I have lost one of my Facebook pages. Literally, Dude Jerky, no numbers, but Dude Jerky was taken down. And there is all kinds of my intellectual property that I've placed on there. There's all kinds of contact information on there that I have absolutely no access for. And when Facebook goes, well, it's a closed account, you have no access to it, it's in the ethers. Wrong, wrong, wrong. They still have it in their servers. They still have it on file. By and large, they're holding your stuff hostage and they're not giving it up. And every time you try to sign in, it just says, sorry, not going to allow you. I got an itch right here. I'm not going to allow you to sign in. So that's where we are with that one. So if you wish to see that website, it is takeonbigtech.com. Is Orange having a problem? No. Okay. one of my cats is like yowling as Mrs. Dude's going up the stairs. So anyway, looking at things as it is, hopefully there's going to be some shaking out of the facts at hand, and these guys get to be called up on things, and it's like, it ain't allowed to do this, okay? I really, truly don't like to curse a whole heck of a lot on this podcast. And I really can't drag this one off of Gab, but it's on my Gab account reading gab.com. So gab.com /dudejerky80s. But I says this. Okay. I can substitute the B word for the F word. Okay. Bucky Buckhead bucks up bucktacularly. Yeah, I think that's clean enough. Anybody can say that's fine. So Bucky Buckhead bucks up bucktacularly. All right, now put an F in for all the B's, and you got what I was trying to say there. This is from the sun.co.uk, and this is bad, folks. This is spectacularly bad. This is a situation where there was a gathering of all things. I think it was an ice cream store or something, but supposedly there was like this mini presser where they were talking to Joe Kaka, and they asked him, and he's like, well, I just had the briefing on it. Hang on a second here. Hang on. I got to do this, officially. And he like pulls out a piece of paper, and he's like, and he's needing to like read the notes that were from that meeting to like refresh his memory that should have been just drilled into him. So he made a heck of a show on that one. And this was a reporter's question on cyber hacking. Now, if you guys know anything about Joe Kaka has been known to say stuff like, well, you go down to the record store, or you put it on a cassette tape, or it's going to be on a VHS, or he's about 30 years out of date, okay? Now, I do find it humorous when people say, oh, I'm going to pick up my smartphone and I'm going to film you. Yeah, well, that's nice, but you're not exactly filming somebody. Somebody called me. Oh, that was Mrs. Dude calling me. Anyway, but yeah, I think it's funny when they say you film somebody. Obviously, it's digital stock, digital, all the rest of that file sharing and what have you. But I think it's funny, though, when there's the carryover, I'm going to film you with my smartphone. There's absolutely no exposure taking place there. In the actual realm they're in of like, the way film actually works. But that stuff kind of cracks me up. But anyway, so really Bucky Buckhead bucked it up bucktacularly. Wow. I cannot do it justice. It was Biden confused. And that's the Sun paper in England. Oof, that's really not good juju. This one's also like, one of these secondarily kind of snowball on top of the hill where you start with like a little itty bitty rock and you kind of go boop, and it just rolls down the hill and gathers and grows and gathers and grows until finally poof, wipes out the entire ski lodge. And you have the spectacular avalanche or something along those lines. Google's not walking away from this one without a couple marks, okay? They're going to have to go into court, and at the very least, they're going to be expending a lot of money to defend themselves from this one because 36, read like 2/3 of the states of the United States have sued, and they're now suing Google. A group of 36 states in Washington, D.C. sued Google on Wednesday in an antitrust case challenging the company's control over the Android App Store. Oh, my stars and garters. Now, I got to tell you personally, one of the things that I did, excuse me, I got to crank on my fan here. I'm starting to get a little warm. All right, so anyway, like one of the things I did was I found that you can take a file from an older phone read like an APK or an Android. I forget what the actual acronym is, but basically it's a program. So I think it's like Android program something, but copy setter. Yeah, I forget what it is actually. But you could take that from one phone, put it on the SD card, install that SD card in another phone, drag that APK off, and install the app. Even though it's no longer supported by the App Store or supported by Google Play or any of those other kind of things. If you know how to do it, you can take a program out of an old phone, put it in a new phone. At least on Android. I don't know about iPhones, but Android, I know for a fact I could do it. So conversely, I did have an operable version of I don't know if that's really going to show. So let me try and cheat my shading here. Okay, you guys can see I right there. I do have a Gunbroker icon. Now, Gunbroker was an active app supported in the Google Play Store, and you could actually install it in your phone. Well, they stopped supporting it, and they said, well, it's no longer supported because we don't just like guns anymore. We never mind the fact these guys were probably paying the money. Obviously, they were utilizing the Google Play Store for the upload and the handshake of all that information to put an app on somebody else's phone who obviously was looking for Gunbroker to go on and buy and sell stuff. So they ended support on that. I put the APK file in my, quote unquote, I'm doing air quotes here, my quote unquote new Note 9 and installed it from an S5 that I had to a Note 9. So basically like 4 generations up, and it still worked. Now, what they did one day was I turned it on and I'm like, okay, cool. Boom. It was like, red script there. This app temporarily not working, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, what the heck is this now? Yeah. So I finally found out that literally what they did was they're like, yeah, that's nice. You got the APK. Yes, you have the actual app on board, but we have turned it off remotely in Google Play. Now, the thing about it is if it's no longer supported and you don't care about it, why the blank do you need to turn it off and stop somebody else from using something that you don't support? Well, what they did then is they're like, well, we're just not going to allow that. So what I found out then is there's a workaround, and this is actually kind of a cool little cheat. If you go and you use the Chrome browser, what you can do is you then can take a website URL, from the Chrome, you're looking at the website on your Chrome browser in your smartphone. And there's a way that you can drag, the 3 dots, and you basically save this on desktop and da-da-da. So what you do then is you create a false icon or a false app log into by simply just having another icon that literally is just like you tap on it and it sends you directly over to the website that you so desire. Now, I found that you could do that, and just to keep myself honest here, and basically just to kind of, Google, I don't like what you're doing here, I put the 2 icons side by side. So I still have the unsupported, not working, still kind of wish I really did work, kind of, nice to have still, but Gunbroker app right next to the icon for the direct link on Chrome browser to go and do the same exact thing, but going through Chrome. That's along that same line of thinking. That's one of those things is I will not ever, and I mean like ever, like I just do not use the Facebook app downloaded from Google Play at all. I log into it with a browser, and when I'm not using it, I log out of it by simply just closing the browser. So conversely, I'm still going into it, but I'm treating it more like I'm using my phone as a miniature laptop per se, as opposed to logging into it using a Google Play app, which probably gives Facebook a little, they probably get some kind of kick. It's a little disconcerting though, and it's a little annoying because I have some really killer ad blockers on my home computer. I really don't see squat. Unfortunately, though, in Android, there really is no good ad blockers. Gatorade's saying in the room that he does use Firefox, and Firefox is one of those kind of cool things where you can put in those, I don't want to see your crap. I don't want to watch the Google ads. I don't want to watch your, things auto playing, all the rest of that stupid stuff. And I really, truly hate the way that it takes advantage of your streaming bandwidth to say every video that pops up on a website automatically auto plays. Now, the only thing I found in terms of that one for a workaround is there is a setting that you can do in Google Chrome, and you literally mute websites. So if you don't go into a website that is unmuted, you literally hear nothing. Even though all the videos are playing and everything, you don't hear squat. Now, that's not a huge workaround and not a huge fix, but at least you're not, basically clicking around all of a sudden. It's like, hi, I'm Sally Sleazebag, and I'm here talking to the da-da-da-da-da-da-da. It's like, I don't need to hear that crap. I just want to look at the website for a linked story. I don't want to hear your spiel about, all these other various things. And of course, women hygiene products and all the rest of this, stupid ad product placement. I don't care about any of that crap. I came here for a specific reason. I'm looking for something that I wanted to see. And I don't want you foisting all this crud as just video pablum that is just annoying. Let's see here. Looking at the room. Gator Red says it took a costly July 4-6 trip. Took a costly July 4 trip. 6 tires and respring on my 2018 camper. I stood on the scale with the camper. The spring rate was 2. Wow. Times 2. It was overrated. Patriot Fever says the room. I don't have Kinkos. What are you talking about when you say iPhone and Android? Okay, well, I'm basically just talking about smartphones, dude. I use a computer. I get stuff my local gun stores not had for months. I get stuff from Midway USA, Brownells. I got parts from eBay too. Well, eBay, unfortunately, has really done a lot of restriction on the quote-unquote good parts. But there are so many vendors right now. And, of course, looking at, Midway and Brownells, the biggest problem I have with those two guys is there's just so much stuff that's just not in stock. You go on there and it's like, waiting for, replenishment, waiting to be, in stock yet again. We'll give you a notice if you sign up for this email. It's like, no, dude, I'm not going to wait for you guys to go, hi, we found the stuff. Hello, we found it. No, I'm not going to do that. Okay. I'm simply just going to go, I'm going to terrorize. I'm going to use my Google food to the best of its ability. And I'm simply just going to source the stuff somewhere else. Okay. The Google for good gun deals. Absolutely, man. CLUS. How you doing, dude? The biggest problem is, of course, unfortunately, there's a lot of times where Google will sterilize or not sanction or tweak the search results and parameters, and it gets really annoying sometimes. Logan Ray, appreciate you coming on by, dude. What I tend to do, and this is kind of one of me being snarky type of things, but actually, yes, Logan, you see, I'm actually wearing the correct shirt too. Yeah. So anyway, what I tend to do is when Google gives me sketch results, I just go, search the search bar and I'll just type in Bing. And then I'll go and search for the same thing that I was looking for on Google. I'll look for it on Bing. And the dirty little secret is 99 times out of 100, I get better search results when I'm looking for something that, Google is trying to quote unquote, not sanction or trying to remove from the search parameters. I find it pretty decently on Bing. So that's going to be one of my fallbacks. It's not like something that I use all the time. I don't use Bing as my primary search engine. And conversely, there's some things I really just don't search for on Google. Conversely, you have Safe Search and you have DuckDuckGo, and there's other secure areas in which to look things up and not worry about that, nanny Google is looking over your shoulder going, we know what you're up to. Yeah. If you wish to avail yourself of these things, just use safer search parameters. I mean, the other thing too is also, I've noticed this, not too terribly, subtle either, is Google Chrome has become a major resource hog, and it kind of bogs down. It's really not sometimes the best thing to look for stuff. It's just become an annoying hindrance sometimes where you're just trying to get stuff done and it's just dragging because it's trying to point you in the direction where they want you to look for their algorithms. Patriot Fever, smartphones. Kamala says, without Kinkos, I don't have access to technology. I'm not even sure what device this is in my hand. Right. Yes. Because you're too stupid to copy something and then send it over somewhere. Patriot Fever, I believe we were speaking about that. It was Kamala says that you're too stupid to actually use voter ID because you could be copying and making fake IDs and all the rest. It's I think that's part of the problem right now is the fact we have people making copies and fake votes. So for you to have to supply a legal ID to vote, That's not that big a stretch. And then, of course, the Democrats are going on about, well, that might displace like those people that don't have state IDs. It's like, jackass, if you don't have a state ID, we can't get into your convention. So apparently, a bunch of people had their state picture IDs and utilized it to get into your convention. And of course, get together and rail on about how bad the United States is and how bad it is for, pick a disaffected class of somebody that, only can be fixed by the Democrats, then putting them out in the little segmented areas of which they believe everybody should be in their little boxes to, protect them from themselves. Yeah. Look, I mean, the biggest problem I have is, unfortunately, people don't know history. They don't know, why the party of Lincoln, which was primarily, the preferred choice of Black Americans, was suddenly subverted by the Democrats. And of course, that was, the Great Society by FDR. He said, I got free crap. Just basically sign on to my guys and vote. Vote for my guys only. And then, of course, he told the Supreme Court, it's like, if you guys don't, go my way, I will pack the court with people who will. And, of course, he was looking at 4 terms and, of course, the chance of nobody replacing him. So it is pretty much the way of which we were dealing with things, back in the good old days. Excuse me 1 second. I have to break up a cat fight. All right, cat fight averted. Mr. Milo basically got his little butt kicked. He knows, don't do that. Anyway, oh jeez, Patriot Fever. Apparently, Callie Kinkos aren't getting power either. Oh, I got some stories about that one, brother. Trust me. Let's see. I don't know if you guys saw this one or not, but this I don't know what the date was on this one, but this one is kind of one of those classic irony things where Democrats, being Democrats, really aren't honest about being Democrats. They tend to do things in a way, shape, and form that they're not completely honest in their various ways of expressing themselves, because unfortunately, the raging truth comes out as actually they're more capitalist than communist. There's a t-shirt, and this was posted up on Amazon Prime, and I don't know the date when this thing was posted up, but if you look at this t-shirt, it's this, obviously very, very San Fran kind of a rainbow looking thing. And it says big bold letters. And it's like, basically like one of these half chest kind of deals. And it says, there are more than 2 genders. And the color on it is obviously a black t-shirt with all this, fanciful stuff going on underneath. And I cannot do this justice, folks, but it says color black. And of course, obviously, there's other color choices you can get for the shirt. I think it might be like a gray or a slate gray or like a blue or whatnot. And it's like fit type, men or women. So apparently those people who are saying that there's something different, well, they don't really wear a different kind of shirt because they don't have 3 arms or 4 heads or other stuff. But I just found that to be complete, total good irony. This one, I'm seeing this one, and this is one of those kind of cool polls coming out, and the Democrats are truly going to pay dearly in the midterms for what they're doing now, and it's going to be the media myth that, quote, people are killed by gun violence, but poll supports gun rights. There's more people buying guns now, and they're really not liking what the government is doing. There's a reason why the gun sales are so strong. It's because they really, truly don't trust the guys in D.C. right now. And they can see the total error in their choices of placing Joe Kaka. And they're going, oh, man, I don't know what's going on, but I want to be able to ensure my personal safety. I wish to have some means in which to reflect force upon some potential threat. And I feel better just having this thing around just in case. Now, the biggest problem, of course, with a firearm is somebody who's not trained in the safe utilization they're in. It could be said that somebody who really, truly doesn't know with a weapon, doing something with a weapon is actually more harmful than somebody who doesn't have the weapon. But the other thing, too, is also it's not been very well related to the general public, but it's like that whole, it's one of those, I hate to quote this, but it's one of those NRA stats where they're like, most of the time, 9 times out of 10, when you show a weapon, that's usually enough to stop the altercation before it proceeds to the point where you need to use the weapon. It takes somebody truly stupid to understand the fact that, well, a bullet is only going to hurt for a little while until I'm dead. For these guys to keep doing what they're doing, proceed to, create threat upon others or do that potential activity that you're trying to dissuade using a firearm to make them stop. Now, the other thing, too, is also it's a situation they're in where if you're probably not going to be one of these people that's going to be breaking laws and being a total jackhole because you want to maintain your firearms rights of ownership. If you're a total dirtbag, obviously you're going to be saying, well, I'm going to lose those rights. Now I won't legally have a firearm. But that crosses over then into the bad guys, and bad guys really don't care about laws. That's what makes them bad guys. I think the Democrats are going to pay dearly next election cycle. I think they are going to pay dearly. Scroll. I don't know if you guys caught up on this one or not, but this is crossing over from justthenews.com. So let me take a snoop on this one. And it said Judicial Watch. You guys have obviously heard of Judicial Watch, but Judicial Watch has sued the FBI for records on obtaining banking information on people in D.C. on January 6th. So, what did they do? Well, Judicial Watch said Tuesday they filed a FOIA request, which essentially is a Freedom of Information Act request lawsuit, blah, 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 against the Federal Bureau of Investigation for Records of Communication. Oh, this is bad, folks. Between the Department of Justice and several financial organizations for alleged financial transactions made by the people in Washington, D.C. on the days surrounding the January 6th Capitol riot. Now, if you get a warrant, that's one thing. If you're doing this fast and loose behind the scenes, that's not good juju. So the Conservative Judicial Watchdog Group said the FBI refused to confirm or deny the existence of such documents. Translation: you just basically caught with your pee-pee in the pooch. You're looking very guilty. The lawsuit filed Tuesday was created after the FBI failed to respond to another open record request on 10 February 2021. Quote, we want the details of what it looks like to be an unprecedented abuse of the financial privacy of countless innocent Americans by the big banks and the FBI, end quote, said Judicial Watch's president, Tom Fitton. Quote, the FBI stonewalling and denial of our request speaks volumes. The watchdog is asking for all the records of communication between the FBI and the financial institutions, including, listen up, folks, the Bank of America, who I haven't used since like the 1990s because I don't like them. Citibank, Chase Manhattan Bank, Discover, and American Express, among others. However, no time frame was given for the FBI and the DOJ to respond to the request. In June, it was discovered that the Bank of America had handed over the banking and transaction information of approximately 200 people in Washington, D.C. area at the time of the riot, according to Fox News. Bank of America alleges, quote, actively but secretly engaged in the hunt for extremists in cooperation with the government, and following the events of January 6th, gave the FBI financial records of their customers. That takes a warrant, folks. That's not something that you just get free and easy. Oh, here's the stuff, man. Go ahead and chase them down, see what they were up to. I tend to think right now, any of those people who had this happen to them needs to sue the ever-living crap out of Bank of America, Citibank, Chase Manhattan, Discover, and American Express. Needs to sue them to the point where these financial institutions understand, do not do this stuff without a warrant. No matter what your political aspirations are, or no matter what you think the other guys were doing at the time, or no matter what the fact is, blah, 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 blah was going on. But Bank of America has got a big history of some serious ethics problems. Just give me 1 second here. Get a Red in the Room says they might pay over audits for who or how mailed-in votes were done in Georgia. 60% is way off dead people or live in NIT that state. Oh, live in state. If every state in question was audited, they're going to find out the coup happened. Coup. C-O-U-P. Coup. It's one of those French things. Like almost coupe, but instead coup. So anyway, I know what you meant there, Gatorade. So anyway, yeah, man. Bank of America has had history of doing sketch stuff. And I do mean sketch. So it should be no surprise that they would do something like this going, hey, psst, psst, we got the financial records of these guys that we know are on the Capitol on January 6th. Hey, do you want them? And the FBI was like, well, we're politically minded, motivated, and, completely, brown-nosing individuals. Sure, send us that information, but don't say you sent it to us. Yeah. Sketch. Real sketch. Anyway, scroll. This is very, very interesting. Also coming up into the midterms for the Democrats. Quote, polling shows 3/4 of Americans support integrity measures like voter ID that Biden, Joe Kaka, called, quote, Jim Crow of the 21st century, end quote. This is the irony right here, folks. I truly, truly detest when politicians read Democrats pull this crap where they blame the other guy for exactly the stuff that they are doing, have done, or use it at a version of reality of which they find themselves to be most comfortable in operation they're in, but they charge the other guy of the stuff that they're doing to try to take away any form of argument for what they're actually doing. Like I've always said, if you want to know what Democrats are doing, just listen to them. They'll tell you what they're up to. It's not like a hard stretching imagination to go, yeah, what are these guys really doing? When they describe everything that they're charging the Republican Party for is exactly what they are doing. But anyway, so it's saying over here from Just the News yet again, but if Democrats have dug themselves into an election integrity hole, courts may bury them in it. It's getting interesting, folks. It's getting very, very interesting. Going into an election cycle, which is really not that far away, if you think about it, because, well, people might have long memories, but man, I'll tell you what, the way things are looking right now for Joe Kaka and the rest of his group of idiots, AOC, Tlaib, all the rest of those morons, they are really digging themselves in deep and showing everybody exactly the kind of country of what you're going to get when you put those guys in charge. And there's other stuff coming out too, man. I got a couple other stories that are kind of cool that really they don't like when you talk about it. But let's have a little bit of a palate cleanser here for a second. I have yet again found myself an awesome piece of kit. This is now up on YouTube. I do actually have the video live and playing, and it is going to be the Dude's Knife blog. This one, of course, being a Spyderco pre-diver. Read like this is like the dive knife that they put out before the diver probe, and really rarefied, unusual piece. Very, very cool. So kind of not too terribly unhappy to find a second one. The one that I had primarily in my collection is pretty much its collector piece. It's like really, really cherry. I think it's got like very, very, very minimal handling marks, if anything. This guy's been banged around a little bit. So, it's definitely a used piece. It's also hella heavy. You would think like, most of your standard Spyderco pocket knives, they really don't weigh a whole hell of a lot. This thing's like closing in like 8 ounces, man. It's like, almost like having, my Swiss Army champ in my pocket, but it's only one blade. Wow. I mean, this thing is just, it's a tank. It really, really is just a tank. Conversely, there's a couple kind of cool diver type things they have on here. There is a line cutter, not very good. As a matter of fact, they've actually done interviews with Sal Glesser, the guy that has Spyderco, and he's like, yeah, it was really, really hard to get sharp. So we really just kind of gave it our best effort and went with that. The opening hole is absolutely massive. I mean, you can literally stick your finger in there. It's just an absolutely huge opening hole intended for you to open it wearing like dive gloves or what have you. Conversely, there is the I've heard this explained a couple different ways. I've heard this explained as either a slot that allows it to dry, or it's a clevis wrench. Where you have like those kind of U-bolt looking things with like the cross bolt. And sometimes they get really tight; you can't crack them by hand. That might be what this thing's intended for. Obviously, it's really, really going to be hard to see on camera here, but you can see the lines. There is a ruler on board of inches and millimeters, or inches and centimeters, but inches and millimeters. And obviously, it does have a through hole here for either the shackle type arrangement, which was kind of unusual. I actually have that on the other one that's up in my collection. This one doesn't have it, but it is a through hole where you could put like, a thong on there or a lanyard or some such, so you don't drop it and lose it. Does have a decent pocket clip on there. Does not have the other one where you can basically like, invert it, where you can basically have it like this in your pocket versus like, this in your pocket. The later ones did have holes on both sides where you can do that. The scales are obviously two different thicknesses. This one being thicker, so you can screw the belt clip into it. This one being thinner. It did actually have a not great clip on it. And it kind of looks like the Spyderco Clip It. And really what it was a sheet metal piece that came out, basically same material as the side plate here. And it would come out, it would basically be like a hook. And then there was a secondary piece that came up that was a spring. So you could just like, you could click it on something and would have it hanging from the whatever it is. Only problem is it was a French patent and it was poorly executed. So it was really, really easy to bend. It just didn't hold very good. Potentially, you're losing your dive knife off your stuff. So it really didn't work really good. So usually, you would encounter these things. It's really rare to find them complete. But what they did was they recalled them to the factory and basically just ground that off, or before it left the factory, they just ground that off. So if you look at the two plates here, one of them has a really decently profiled grind. On this one, it is slightly different. Kind of starts out okay and then gets a little wider because obviously somebody was like, just doing a quick buff on it just to get it out the door. And that's the other thing too, is also the metal on this is 440 steel, but it's been what they refer to as electro-polished. So you had the really, really, really seriously electro-polished finish, not allowing rust to start. And if it did, you could just kind of just rub it off real fast. I did give it a couple passes with some Flitz polish, and it did clean up a little bit, but I'm not going to go crazy on it. This thing's basically, it's a user. It's not like something that's so terribly pretty. I'm going to be like, oh, I can't scratch it or handle it or anything like that. It's already been used. Okay. I'm not going to cry about more scratches and dings and what have you, because it's already been used. It is still going to go up on display in the me room, but it's going to be on the use file, not the new file. The new file one, literally, I just put it in the display that I have, and it hasn't been touched since. I think I gave it a good cleaning, and it went in there, and it has not come out since. And in that enclosure, it's basically dust free, and of course it's stainless steel intended for diving, so it's not like it's going to be sitting in there just kind of like growing mold. That's just not going to happen. But yeah, so I'm kind of a happy dude. Found this guy, and I'm good to go on that one. Gatorade in the room says, talked to a Democrat lady, said Trump messed the country. Obama was great and Trump was nasty. Well, how's your gas and food costs lately? Well, the thing I always have for the Democrats, when they start going on about how bad Trump was, it's like, okay, let me express it to you like this. First and foremost, he's from Brooklyn. I'm from the Bronx. We're both New Yorkers, okay? Everybody could always work with him when he was just generically Donald Trump. It was like, oh, the Donald, yeah, he's cool. We can work with him, blah, 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 blah. It's only when he got in the White House that they need to demonize him and make him something than other of what he was. Now, I actually know one of his former girlfriends, and I've spoken with her about, like, when they were dating, it was like, so what was Donald like? So, he's a nice guy, we just basically just drifted apart, but, it wasn't like anything that he was doing to drive me away from him. It was just a case of, just the relationship was on two coasts, and, it just didn't work. And literally she was like, literally like a model. So, obviously she's going to be in California. He's going to be in New York. The paths may cross once in a while, but it just obviously just, the way things worked, they just drifted apart. It wasn't like, acrimony or anything like that. It's just basically two people, the relationship just kind of fizzled out. So that was that. But, they go on about, oh, he's racist, he's sexist, he's this, he's that. It's like, okay, do you see like the history behind the scenes of like most Democrats? They're dirtbags. And you guys always say, well, it's just, he's just being human. That's just how things are. Well, on the other side of the aisle, I'm sure there's plenty of guys being exactly the same way. If you look at historical reference, Ben Franklin was a dog, man. He would go through chicks like you don't want to know. He was a party animal. But everybody respected him because it's Ben Franklin. It wasn't like they were seeing like, oh yeah, there's that revolutionary guy, Ben Franklin. He's carousing with all the girls and blah 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 blah. It never really came up to any point of anything that was other than the guy was respected for just being Ben Franklin. Yeah, I heard about that. Patriot Fever in the room says there was a CPAC poll that had him winning by 74% this week. Well, here's the thing, and this is the not pretty part about politics. Right now, Joe Kaka is looking bad, and he's looking worse every single time he opens his mouth. And his policies are not doing good things for the country. We basically have turned around the economy and are like, oh yeah, the stock market's so strong. The stock market is not so strong. It's the rich guys flipping it and getting the hell out of all the risky stuff and getting into the valuable stuff that really isn't going to lose them a lot of cash. Okay. Gas prices are up. You have inflation taking hold. You have cash scarcity. You have product scarcity. I mean, I went to the local chain around here, obviously, is the Royal Farms, is like, the big name. That's like our 7-Eleven in Baltimore. And then obviously there's Wawa's. And I like Wawa's because that's where I go for my subs. But I go in there and I'm looking at the cold case and I'm looking at all the different sodas and teas and what have yous. And they're like, half of the case is like missing stuff. And it's like, due to scarcity of everything, blah, 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 this is what we're missing. It's like, whoa, wait a minute. How can a store function if it's missing half the stuff that it's trying to sell? It's just the way we are, folks. I mean, as Americans, we're kind of spoiled. You have 50 bazillion stories of all these many things of which to, flang your flag upon for your favorite beverage. But, like half of those guys were missing. Yipes. Just really yipes. That's not good, Juju. Let's see. This Joe Kaka. Oh man, I got a new sound effect. I think I'll try it out tonight. This one's a little bawdy, but I'll try it out just for fun and games. Okay, but I'll try it out just for fun and games. Joe Kaka. Somebody does not understand basic economics. Okay, he said he's going to respond to skyrocketing gas prices by vowing to raise taxes on oil companies. Holy shit. Yes, exactly. Holy schnackies. Holy crap. I don't think he understands basic economics because as soon as you... hang on a second here. Before you even start thinking about it, and you're even just like putting a notion up there, the CEOs and the COOs and all those guys and all these corporate entities are going, okay, as soon as we get nailed, before we get nailed, we start charging. Now, that's the other thing too, is you guys ever notice like literally the gas station is changing prices literally at like midnight or earlier? Well, if you have the gas tanker come there and fill them, they bought that gas for the gallon price of what it was previously. When they jack the price up, they're anticipating that the next tanker load is going to cost that much more. So you're charging more for stuff that you already have, and the government is clueless in that regard because the company is going ahead of us getting socked. We're just simply going to charge everybody more money. And that is basic economics of any corporation. Anything that they get charged that costs them more money, they pass it on to the consumer. They don't take the hit. They charge you and me more for whatever it is that we're trying to get before they have to pay more. So Joe Kaka has no freaking clue what makes the world go around coming out of the ground that's black and bubbly. Clueless. Absolutely clueless. Now, this is something else too. Coming into the midterm elections, when you cost people more money and you cause them to have to expend more of their finances, of which they're probably kind of on that ragged edge anyway, of going, yeah, I'm financially feasible. I need to start dipping into my savings. All these things are coming down the pike, and I'm not really liking this. Well, those are kind of things that people tend to remember when they go in the voting booth going, yeah, that Rassa is really making me pay too much Rassa money. Yeah. Gatorade says, open the pipeline back up and fracking, it'll go down. Well, that's part of it too, is also Canada is now actively suing. There's a number of northern states that are actively oil fields. There's Texas, I believe, is actually actively suing Joe Kaka for breaching federal regulations, shutting down the pipeline. That's other stuff coming down the pike. He's going to have a really, really interesting dance card when all these guys start calling him into court. Let's see. Scroll. I don't know if you guys caught up on this one or not, but obviously the vote in California took place. Governor Newsom will be recalled. Now, this is kind of one of those funny things that really he probably didn't think through. Yeah, that's right. There was a judge, and he ruled that that Gavin Newsom, Democrat California, cannot run and label himself as a Democrat on a recall ballot after his team made a filing error. Oh, my word. Oh, my stars and garters. Excuse me 1 second here. I cannot begin to do this one justice, folks. I can't. This is coming from Gateway Pundit, written by Christina Layla, posted up on July 12. Quote, or just starting the story. California Governor Gavin Newsom will not be able to label himself a Democrat on the recall ballot this September after his team made his filing error and omitted his party preference. Oh, my God. Okay, you had an R, you had a D, you probably had like a G or, a bunch of other, the smaller fractions of other parties. They forgot to click his party affiliation. Oopsie. Gavin sued the California Secretary of State to let his team fix the error late last month. Good luck, dude. Judge James P. Argulis. James P. Argulis. I'm not good with Spanish words sometimes. On Monday denied Newsom's request to let his team make the correction after hearing arguments on Friday. Quote, Governor Newsom argues that unique circumstances attending his untimely party designation support an order excusing the noncompliance. Quote, Argulis wrote, but, quote, the court is not persuaded. Oh, Politico reported. Newsom's team is scrambling to correct an error that will now deprive him of his party preference for ballots on the September 14th recall. Dude, how could you do such a thing? Newsom sued Secretary of State Shirley Weber late June, arguing that the law imposes a needlessly early deadline for recall targets to request their party designation, and voters deserve to see that information. No, dude. No, you got bitched. You got bitched by your own incompetent people, and you're now going, but wait, I didn't get a chance. You did it to yourself because you put stupid people under you. After hearing arguments Friday, however, Judge P. Argulis ruled late Monday against Newsom. Argulis had already played an instrumental role in the recall by granting proponents 4 additional months to gather signatures, an extension that ultimately coincided with the worst months of the pandemic in California. Newsom, give it up, booby. You're just... Hang on a second. I got this one, sound guy. It's easy to say that Governor Newsom will not be getting... No, he's not getting... No, he is not getting snoo. He's getting... Oh, my stars and garters. He is getting it, man. He's just going to get it. He's going to get it, okay? Death by snoo. No, he's getting death by... Sound guy, switch that one up sometime, okay? Make it death by snoo and make it, death by wee. I want to have that one, okay? Death by wee. Yeah. There you go. Death by deliverance. Man. Argulis disagreed with the argument from Newsom's attorney that party status was a vital piece of information for voters, writing the law offered candidates, quote, discretion to inform recall voters about party preferences as opposed to imposing a requirement that voters be so informed, end quote. Argulis rejected the notion a good faith error on Newsom's part should spare him. Dude, give it up. That judge does not like you, okay? Not in the slightest. He wants nothing to do with you. In fact, he wants to see you skipping down the road going, oh, yeah. This is kind of a meme, but this one was, I found this one, and it's just absolutely epic. And it's like if you look at, basically a map of the United States, and it's like California, Oregon, Washington, it's like all in blue. Most of the country is red. Of course, Alaska's red. Of course, Hawaii is blue. But it's like then you look around like the Great Lakes in that area. Then you kind of look around the Northwest, which unfortunately comprises my state. I don't know why they included. I hope they didn't get West Virginia in there. But it says this exactly in like the blue and the red areas is like, circled like don't leave the blue areas. And it says this in meme text. In order to prevent further infestation of ridiculous liberal ideas and policies, liberals are being asked to stay put in their respective quarantine zones. If you wish to leave your zone because taxes are too high, schools suck, and criminals run the place, remember, you voted for that crap. So sit your ass back down and enjoy what you created. And that seems to be part of the problem, too, is Democrats and liberals really kind of crap up a place, and they're like, whoa, I got to roll out of here because this area sucks. They export all their suck into the new place in which they reside, and they make it a resultant pain in the ass for everybody else because they're now trying to make it just as sucky as the place they just left. Don't ask me how I know about that in the state of Maryland. When retirees leave Maryland and they go to a better state. This one is kind of classic. And I'm saying, so showboating and racist acts of valor don't fly in the black community. Well, it's now been stated this is the WashingtonExaminer.com, and they're saying that most black Americans do not want to see Olympic protests like Gwen Berry. And they did a poll. And the public wants athletes representing the United States at international sporting events like the Olympics to be respectful of the American flag and the national anthem, according to a national poll. An INI-TIPP poll taken after the Team USA hammer thrower Gwen Berry protested the Star Spangled Banner during the Olympic qualifier ceremony found 79% of the public opposes similar protests. That's more than just Democrats there, Gwen, okay? Let's see. During the Olympic qualifiers ceremony, this includes 61% of black Americans, 69% of Hispanic Americans who said it was important, quote, for professional athletes to publicly respect the American flag on the international level, end quote. 60% said respectful showing was, quote, very important, end quote, while 60% of those surveys said they did not think it was important. Well, 79% is way more than 16%. While a breakdown of those polls showed general agreement across the board, Republicans and conservatives were more apt than Democrats or liberals to say a respectful display was important. The poll found 93% of Republicans and conservatives said athletes' respect for the anthem was important while abroad. The figure dropped to 72% of Democrats and 60% of liberals who agreed. Well, 60% of liberals is still a whole heck of a lot of liberals. Independents and centrists were in between. Hang on a second here. I got to link all these autoplay things. Independents and centrists were in between the major parties at 74 and 81%, respectively, said honoring the anthem was important. The only group without a majority to say professional athletes should honor the flag and the anthem were young people. Okay, the heads full of mush that are coming out of the institutional facilities currently who are being spoon-fed socialism don't get the whole reason why the flag and the anthem are that important. Let's see. 49% agreed, 39% disagreed, saying the protest should be allowed. Well, It's not the place for it, okay? After placing third in the U.S. Track and Field Olympics qualifier on June 26th, Barry turned away from the flag and draped a T-shirt that read, quote, activist athlete, end quote, over her head during the playing of the national anthem. Despite the backlash, Barry said she was unsure that she would protest the Olympics in Tokyo should she place in her event. We'll see, Barry said. Depends on how I'm feeling and what I want to do in that moment. Quote, let's be clear. I do respect the Constitution because obviously I was exercising my constitutional rights in Japan. But I will not stand for any type of symbol or song that does not stand for all the people in America. I gotta curse here. Look, you stupid blanking bitch. All the people in America fall under the flag. All the people in America fall under the national anthem. The flag is the nation's flag. The anthem is the nation's song. It falls over all Americans. You were born here, you're an American. You might be a stupid-ass bitch, but you're an American. She added, quote, we need to be talking about the racial and social injustice issues that the black community still faces to this day. It's the same thing, and people are trying to divert the attention to a song and a flag when it's not even the biggest thing we need to be focusing on right now. The thing we need to be focusing on right now is you need to get your happy ass back on a plane and fly the hell back home. Wow. What a piece of just... I gotta say it. What a piece of... Yeah, just... That's what she is. She's just... Yep. Oh, man. Just what a piece of... Yeah. Just, that's... The only thing I can say about her is she is just... Yeah, that's she's just dookie, okay? She's just dookie. All right, looking over here in the room. Gatorade met his ex. She said we will split up due to not getting along, not mad or down to fight. Kept his last name. Okay, I don't get that Gatorade, but okay. Open the pipeline back up, fracking, descend, everything. Oh, Gatorade says had to buy a new type boat motor because of the Airport 100 low lead fuel to mix the airport was sold, torn down, fracking for natural gas, Dandy Martin, Williams Oil Depot, and fracking like empty now. Yeah, that's... Well, you can always throw the container of real lead in there, like you get for like those kind of cars that don't really have the hardened valve seats. That stuff is available. Obviously, you don't want to be huffing it. You don't want to be like getting it all over your hands and whatnot. But you can get the real lead additive for gasoline. The biggest problem for small engines right now is unfortunately the ethanol. Ethanol is just absolutely horrific for old spec motors, man. It's just bad. Unless you got something that's literally like, cast iron on cast iron on cast iron on cast iron, it's really going to have a hard time with that, the old spec aluminum that's not like, like coated with all the, not eat it with aluminum type stuff. Alcohol is bad stuff for aluminum, man. It's just really, really bad stuff. So let's see. I really am just disgusted by this chick. And she's got this little snarky thing going on where she's like, she really truly needs to just, she needs to lose. Okay. That's what really truly needs to happen. She needs to lose and then leave in disgrace or not actually place that much further. She really truly just needs to lose. I don't know if you guys heard about this or not, but the Democrats who departed from Texas to deny the voting assurance stuff that was going to be voted on, so that they basically couldn't have quorum. Well, I don't know if you guys saw the picture or not, but there's a picture of them flying in an aircraft without masks on. But I doesn't that like, oh my, if at the very least, what should have happened is the air staff should have said, look, great, you took this picture and all. Put your masks on right now, or we're putting it on the deck. That's what really should have happened, because it is federal law, FAA federal law, that you have to follow, and a flight path and all the rest of this fun stuff. And obviously you have to follow the air staff. The air staff, they're little g, but they are God in the air. They are little g. So you got to listen to those guys. If you don't listen to what they're saying or what they're doing, as soon as you touch down, you're getting the brass, the silver bracelets on, and you're taking a ride. But what's going on is Texas Governor Greg Abbott has said, as soon as you come back in Texas, you will be arrested, you will be sequestered, and you will be in the State House to vote. Now, also comprising that, they've also been denied their pay. He pretty much said, you know what, if you're not working, you're not getting paid. Executive order, I just turned off your paychecks. Have fun. You're not going to get any money while you're doing this, walk off the thing and protest and what have you. I tell you what really truly needs to have happen. Texas needs to see these guys acting like spoiled little children, call them on their actions, and remove them from office. That's the only way that politicians understand that they are doing something against the will of the people, is they get tossed. They get a foot up their ass. They get booted. They get out. They get booted. They get done. They're not in office any longer. They're out of power, and they do not have a public voice or ability to screw with things any longer because they're out of a job. It needs to have happened, folks. Let's see. I don't know if you guys seen this or not, but unfortunately or fortunately, Pennsylvania has got the virus now, and it's spreading. It's bad. It's bad. PA has got the virus. That's right. PA's got that bad audit virus, man. PA State Senator Mastriano. Mastriano. I'm sorry. The Italian name. Mastriano announces his committee has the votes to audit several counties for voter regularity, and it should prove interesting. So, Pennsylvania Republican State Senator Doug Mastriano, I can't talk today. Mastriano announced he will launch a forensic investigation into the 2020 general election and 2021 primary. In his announcement, Mastriano detailed his decision and why it's so important. Quote, a forensic investigation of our election results and processes for 2020 general election and 2021 primary will go a long way to restore trust in our system. Voting is a fundamental right of all citizens. We should continually look for ways to improve the voting process to ensure every voice is heard. Kudos. But PA's got the virus now. Yeah, it's that audit virus, man. It's going around. It's bad. It's real bad. So this is another, I could say virus, but I'd just say this guy is just herpes. He's herpes. He's really herpes. I'm talking about, of all things, Mario Cuomo. Anyway, so he's unwilling or unable to control violent criminals. So Cuomo is now targeting gun owners and the gun industry. Why industry is still in New England and still building firearms up there, I have no clue. You shouldn't be in New England. You shouldn't be in Connecticut. You shouldn't be in New York State. You definitely shouldn't be in Connecticut. You should not be in any of these areas that truly don't like you for what you are, and supplying to the state trust. And you guys supply, tax revenue. You guys basically are consumers of products. You're producers of stuff that people want. You're employers to the state's persons. They do good stuff, okay? It's not like you can say, well, guns are bad. They shouldn't be existing in my state. Well, yeah, but that's part of the problem is you don't have that kind of control. In a standardly run free society, you don't get to say what businesses survive and which businesses don't survive, other than the fact they are financially able or destitute on their own actions, or, of course, social changes and people going, yeah, I don't need that product anymore. Notice the horse and buggy whip guys are out of business now? Yeah, there's a reason why. But yeah, typical. Going after the law-abiding citizens. What an asshole. I'd never have liked Cuomo. Whatever. I don't know if you guys heard about this one or not, but supposedly... Oh, this is interesting. But, the piece of, I really don't want to cuss here, but supposedly that guy, David Shipman, who is Biden's choice to head the ATF, has got some deleted items and files that really make him look even worse than previously. That's right. So now he's got deleted tweets that tell us really all we really truly know about him. And remember, I keep telling everybody this. Anybody will listen. Anybody's with the range of my voice. Never, ever, ever. I got to choke up on the mic on this one. Okay. Ever, never, ever, 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 ever post anything up on the internet that you truly don't want to have somebody make notice of and save, because if you put it out there, somebody will save a copy of it. Guaranteed. There is no delete button on the internet. And way, shape, and form, I can tell you for a fact, there's times where stuff's been posted up, and it was posted up, and it was removed within not even but a couple minutes, and somebody still snagged a copy of it and held it over their head going, you said this. I got a copy of it. It's time-stamped and everything. And they're going, well, I didn't do that. It's a hack job. I never said that. It's like, dude, we know it was you, okay? Nice try. So never, ever, ever put anything up on the internet that you can, find is going to bite you in the ass later on, because Shipman is realizing the hard way that, stuff is around after you hit the delete button. Dumbass. Scroll. Now, I've seen both sides of this one. Supposedly, there was a story out there from Epoch Times, and it said, with the power grid under pressure, California is asking residents to avoid charging electric vehicles. And then, of course, immediately it was like, USA Today was like, oh, no, that's not a real story. California would never say that to anybody. Never mind the fact that the Hoover Dam is way low. The Mead Lake is exceedingly low. And power supply from the Hoover Dam right now is down dramatically. Water supply is down dramatically. So situation they're in is, I wouldn't be a bit surprised if some local wonk was like, hey, charge your EV like only every couple days if you can avoid charging it all the time. Or, biggest problem with an EV is you can't fill the tank in 5 seconds like you can at a gas station, okay? It takes a long time. It takes a lot of power. And, when you come right down to it, you're not getting some miraculous gas mileage out of the thing because, you're tied to the electric grid. Now, I know California keeps going on and on about how great it is for the planet and all the rest of this fun follow and blah, 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 blah. Unless you're generating the power in some way that does not contribute any form of carbon, read like you're basically just able to gather sun's energy without having to make a mechanism to do so. Anytime that you make something, you're using some form of infrastructure, you're creating some form of, carbon emission, all the rest of this fun follow. And I love what these guys going about, like, electric cars are so good for the planet. Maybe not, dude, because once you've made the battery, it goes across the ocean. Getting the stuff going across the ocean, getting the ore going across the ocean. It's like 4 or 5 trips going across different places to build the batteries in Panasonic and Samsung, I believe is the two. So it's not like the Chinese are going, we got all these, EV batteries coming out, because nobody really trusts Chinese batteries. Okay. They're not the ones making all the lithium batteries. A lot of it is coming from out of Japan because the Japanese stuff is known to be good quality. The Chinese stuff, it's Chinese and you get what you get. But I've heard it said, like, the story was initially that, it came out, don't charge your cars all the time, or, try to avoid charging your cars all the time. And then, USA Today was like, oh, no, they fell on the sword. Oh, that's a fake story. Oh, we can prove it's a fake story. All right. It's crap all the way around. Let's see. Scroll. I don't know if you guys saw this one or not. This is hilarious. Hilarious. These guys are taking Glock 19 pistols. So basically, it is the step-down version of the Glock 17. So basically, it's the more easier to carry version, they say. It's like 1 inch less barrel, 1 inch less grip. Carries a little better because, it's a little smaller package. But what they have is they refer to it as the Block not Glock, but the Block with a B, Block 19 customization for Glock 19s. And I cannot do this justice. This is coming from the Firearms blog, and it had me laughing. The company is called Culper Precision, and they have the Block 19 customization for the Glock 19. So literally what this is recently introducing the customization option for the 3rd and 4th generation Glock 19 pistols. The Block 19 customization is designed to resemble a gun made out of Lego bricks. But of course, to be fully functional at the same time, aside from resembling a Lego gun, Culper Precision machines the slide to actually accept Lego or aftermarket blocks. And it comes with a kit of bricks and super glue to fashion a makeshift red dot and iron plastic sights. The owner of Culper Precision, Brandon, was kind enough to explain more below. The idea is that customers who have a 3rd or 4th gen Glock with black polymer frame already purchased the aftermarket blank slide, no serrations on the front or back, no optic cut, etc. From us, from Brownells, or from Lone Wolf, or other suppliers can send it in, and we will return a Block 19 for them for around $600. The block slide requires an aftermarket blank slide as the front and rear factory Glock serrations interfere with the bosses to make it possible to attach your own Lego pieces to the slide. And we are, above all, super excited to see what people build on their Block 19 slides. Now, the picture here, I cannot do this justice. It's like the slide is like red, the frame is yellow, the grip area is like blue, and it's like all Lego colors. So they actually did do it correctly. Then if you look on top of the slide, there's like a piece of plastic, obviously Lego construction. And in the front, there's a piece of plastic Lego construction. It's the front and rear sights. And then obviously there's a piece in the middle of plastic Lego block construction of the red dot sight. And I gotta tell you, it looks like the thing's made out of Legos. It really, truly does. So that's kind of really cool. And, obviously they could do the thing. Said people put 2,500 rounds through the Block 19 prototypes, and they've had zero problems with the things. And they're, trying to figure out how long the super glue stuff stays on there. And they said typically hold up for around 1,500 rounds. Ended up tearing the plastic blocks, but there's no super glue, and they needed some careful reapplication to the torn blocks. And, it's fun stuff. I don't know would I ever build one myself, but I just thought it was cute. And obviously, of course, the screaming Mimiites are losing their minds. Let's see. Scroll. I posted a picture up, and this is supposedly from Australia, and it's a picture of the BMW small EV. And I forget what that one's called. So let me see if I can't find it real fast here. Keep myself honest. And it's not the i8. I mean, we're talking about the little minivan thing here. I think it's the i4. Or is it i3? Or is it the iX? I don't know. It's one of those ones. But if you look at the thing, it's kind of... It's goofy looking. It's really just not i3. That's what it is. The i3, which is kind of this really goofy looking little SUV, and it's really, really Teutonic, which is like a really strange body lines. And the funniest damn thing about it is, of course, they took the twin cylinder opposed boxer motor off the 1200 or one of the smaller displacement motorcycles, and they put that in the back of the thing, and they give it a really small fuel tank. It's like only like about a 2-gallon tank or something. And supposedly what it is that is a range extender. It's not intended to charge the battery back up. It's not intended to, start it back up and run specifically on just that. It's only intended to keep you going. If your range is not quite far enough and you need to drive further, this thing will be, you'll be driving along, all of a sudden you hear, brrr, and then you got this 2-cylinder motorcycle engine running in the back, trying to keep the batteries from just completely going flat on you. Not something that really truly intrigues me. But anyway, look at this meme picture. It's a picture of the i3 sitting there with a supercharging looking, the kind of almost gas pump looking things that Tesla has. And behind that is a diesel generator. And what it is they said specifically, it's a diesel car charging station that's popping up everywhere. The 350 kilowatt generator uses 12 gallons of diesel fuel per hour. That sounds right. and it takes 3 hours to fully charge a car to get 200 miles. 36 gallons of diesel for 200 miles. That's 5.6 miles per gallon, or basically what a tractor trailer does. Yeah, that really just does not inspire confidence, and that's kind of stuff you're seeing. Let's see, scroll. I did find a copy, and this is also on my Facebook, but I did find a copy of the what to expect from the COVID door-to-door solicitors, and it was a file share that came in from Lake County, Illinois government. And it's the door knocking instruction informational thing. And you get like the script, you get to know like the modus operandi, and you can look at it all your leisure. So that's also on my timeline on my Facebook page. That's going to be on July 10th, so a couple days ago. This is another meme I found that cracked me the hell up, and it's the Lego Capitol visit playset. So you can replicate the January 6th insurrection any day of the week. Enjoy. Let's see. Scroll. I got a bunch more stuff. We're coming up on 1:20 here. I don't want to take too terribly long, but some of the stuff that I've been seeing and I'm just throwing into my Facebook page, you guys can check it out. I mean, now that I'm up on Facebook again, I'm now actively able to do these things. Obviously, I do mirror that on my Gab page. So I go both ways. So if you guys want to take a look at the Gab page, obviously gab.com/dudejerky80s. And that's where that one is. Obviously, Dude Jerky 2 on Facebook. Obviously, you guys see me on 80s Podcast Channel. I appreciate your kind attention. Those people in the room, those people out of the room, those people decided to hang out with me tonight, and those people who popped on by for a quick look. In any case, I appreciate your kind attentions. Have the podcast every Tuesday. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. And obviously, my crazy cat's being crazy somewhere else. So good times on that one. So I'm going to bring on this one, folks. Eat good, keep it as always. You know what? You love it. And I truly, truly, truly appreciate your kind attentions. You guys have any other place to go, but you decided to hang out with me. And, well, you guys hung out with me, and, well, you get a gold star for attendance. So I'll catch you guys next week. And I think I got another video in the can. I got to see what I got going on. But, you guys hung out with me. I appreciate your kind attentions. I'm going to break up with this one. Eat good, keep it as always. You know what? You love it. And I'll catch you guys next week. Have a good one. And then see you then. See ya.